there's an uncomfortable truth that permeates through every corner of the Apothecary Diaries, that life in the country of Lee is inherently unfair, that your fate isn't determined by merit or morality, but by the circumstances of your birth. A system we've seen Maomao fight from the second she entered the rear palace, and the cut content goes deep into her most impactful choice yet, where she's able to break the system while answering important questions the show did not. Like, why did Maomao run away right after discovering the poison? By the way, this video will only cover book content up to Season 1, Episode 6, so there won't be any spoilers past that. Also, if you want more content like this, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Maomao's challenge begins when she has to check for poison at the garden party. For her, it's like a trip to Disneyland, but for anyone else involved, it's downright terrifying. Desperate, unwilling participants seated in front of the emperor, gambling for their lives with every bite they take. And the way the officials think really drives home how unequal the society is. The books go into Lihaku's point of view, how he's annoyed because it took forever to check for poison, that the meals would lose their warmth and hence half their flavor, how he didn't blame the food tasters but seeing them force themselves to eat almost cost him his appetite. I just want to point out that by the standards of this world and even Maomao, Lihaku is a good person. He hands out participation awards to neglected serving women. He has the energy of a friendly dog. So it's a smart way for the story to highlight that even amongst kind individuals, cruelty is normalized. Someone risking their life so officials can have a meal? That's just how things are. A recurring theme like servant girls being forced to earn coin for their kidnappers. Ridiculous requests from the emperor with your life on the line. Remember that proud lady in waiting who secretly hid the face powder for Liwa? The same powder that killed her child. The books revealed that her punishment was nothing. The eunuch responsible for finding the face powder, he got the beating. It mattered not that she was the main culprit. It mattered that she was of noble birth and he was not. And this is what makes Maomao's ability to solve problems so satisfying, because the answers allow her to enact her own version of justice in this unjust society. And the best example of this is when she saves Kanan, the virtuous consort's food taster. When Maomao begins tasting for poison, she realizes all eyes are on her. Now, Maomao does look stunning, but that is not the reason. Every taster was waiting for someone to go first to make sure the coast is clear. An elaborate game of chicken with their lives on the line. And Maomao did not blame them. Since it was a banquet, the poison will be fast acting, hence painful. Maomao also shares that her favorite poison is blowfish because you can't grow a resistance to it, so it's beautifully painful every single time. We're just gonna pretend that those are normal and well-adjusted thoughts. But Maomao is pulled out of Fantasyland when the appetizers arrive. And the books answer why Maomao is familiar with the dish because it's sometimes the emperor's choice when he stays over at the Jade Pavilion, which means the rear palace is handling the food. And given Maomao's job, she has experience tasting this exact dish for both the emperor and Gyokyo. She knows Gyokyo likes the dish with the same exact ingredients as the emperor. But today, a key ingredient is missing. The dish features jellyfish instead of black carp. If you remember, Maomao previously received an imperial order to cure Liwa, and in the process, she worked closely with the culinary service Sheng. They are the definition of elite, able to prepare several variations of the same dish to please both the emperor and his consorts. They even managed an endless array of meals to help Gyokyo when she was nursing, and they would never mistake the ingredients in the emperor's favorite dish. So someone served Gyokyo the wrong meal. In the books, Maomao wants to confirm her speculation, and looking over at Lishu gave her the answer because the poor girl was trembling, holding onto the piece of black carp, along with the lady in waiting behind her, laughing as her mistress suffers. With these clues, we can speculate what Maomao is thinking. She knew firsthand how bad food allergies could be because she had them herself with buckwheat. In her own words, it caused her bronchial tubes to contract so she can't breathe. Only when she digests the buckwheat, she breaks out in a rash, so it's difficult to portion it for testing. And the effects lasted forever, so eventually she gave up building an immunity. She wanted to try again, but leaving her fate in the hands of the doctor in the rear palace is not gonna happen. Death is a real possibility. And if Lishu had the same aversion to black carp, it explained her reaction. And in the presence of the emperor, she can't very well refuse a meal, even if it harms her. The grin from her food taster Kanan must mean that she was the one who swapped the meals, giving the jellyfish version of the meal to Gyokyo and the carp version to Lishu, to which she is allergic. But the real question is why? Did she want to harm Lady Lishu, or was it some bid to antagonize her? Upon tasting the soup after the jellyfish, Maomao had her answer because she declared that it was poison exiting the scene in chaos. And I guarantee in a million years, you guys would not guess why Maomao left so recklessly. Because it's not something you can just do in front of the emperor and the officials. It's disrespectful and could get even Gyokyo in trouble, as Maomao explains later. But it was necessary because Maomao hadn't tasted poison in a very, very long time. She was so entranced by the taste that she couldn't think straight. The only thought going through her head is that I want to eat this. The anime did a phenomenal job showing this, but I have to read you the version from the books because it is absolute literature. The young woman was given the soup and took a spoonful. She examined it critically, then slowly put a few drops on her tongue. Her eyes widened a little. Then suddenly a rapturous smile spread across her face. There was a flush in her cheeks and her eyes began to water. Her lips curved upwards, revealing the white teeth and a plump, almost alluring red tongue. This was what made women so frightening. As she licked the last droplets off her lips, her grin was like ripe fruit, like that of the most accomplished courtesan. The food must have been truly delicious. What could be in it that it could transform a completely average girl into such an enchanting creature? Or perhaps it was the preparation by the palace's talented chefs. Lihaku swallowed heavily, and just then the young woman did something unbelievable. She took a handkerchief out of a pouch and put it on her lips and spat out what she had just eaten. This is poison, the lady-in-waiting said, the flat expression once more on her face. Her voice held all the urgency of a bureaucrat reporting on some mundane matter. And then she vanished behind the lady's curtain. Okay, so that is what we call writing. The thing is, Maomao detected poison in the soup but didn't consume it, but she really wanted to. In fact, she used every bit of her willpower not to, and that's why she ran away. Because if she stayed, she would lose to her temptation and swallow it, confusing every living being. On one hand, she reports that it is poison. On the other, she's eating it like it's her last meal. Which is it? There was no time to explain that Maomao is a special creature, so she figured the optimal choice is to just run away. Also, another hilarious moment here is that Maomao didn't really want anyone to find her, including Jinshi. So when he did, she wanted to give him an expressionless greeting to show her discontent. But the bit of poison in her system froze her lips. She resents that it made her look like she was smiling at him when in reality, she was not. However, this wasn't Maomao's only dilemma. From the ending of the episode, we know that Maomao held Kanan's fate in her hands. If she informed Jinshi that Kanan threatened the life of a high consort, she'd be done. However, Maomao did not report Kanan because she deemed Kanan's intent to antagonize Lishu, not to harm her. Kanan likely had no idea that what she did was dangerous. Because the soup Lishu was meant to drink, the one Gyokyo got instead, was actually poison. So someone legitimately was trying to kill Lishu. If Kanan did not swap out her meal, then both taster and consort would be in danger. But Maomao can't let Kanan off the hook either, because there is no guarantee that she won't try the same stunt again. Maomao had Jinshi call both Lishu and Kanan, and Maomao reveals Lishu's rash as a way to indirectly warn Kanan that doing what she did is the same thing as feeding poison to her mistress. In the show, it was abrupt, but in the books, she sets Kanan down for a very long time, explaining the danger at length. All the while thinking, so this is what it's like to threaten someone. However, when Jinshi questions why call the taster, Maomao acts like she doesn't know. When he asks who caused the meals to be swapped, Maomao says she doesn't know. She wouldn't blame the taster, the person who set the meal, the chefs. She would simply not answer and use her status of being common-born and just a lady-in-waiting to dodge any question. Maomao chose to shield Kanan and everyone involved because she understood how unjust this world is. The life of a taster is nothing to that of a high consort. If word got out, it would mean certain death for Kanan. So Maomao did what she did in the case of consort Fuyo. Maomao figured out that the consort faked her sleepwalking symptoms to avoid a visit from the emperor. So Maomao chose to feign ignorance, a powerful choice which protected all the women involved. This is an ingenious way Maomao breaks the system of this world by withholding information, preventing the unjust laws from being upheld, and gives us a beautiful bit of irony because it was Kanan's genuine ignorance that put her in this dire situation. But it was Maomao's faked ignorance which rescued her from it.